Welcome back to Steel and Vance. For so many people, the realities of requiring, needing extra care that can't be given in the home is real and scary.
And it's scary when you've got a loved one. When we placed my mom in long-term care with dementia, and then my dad is in long-term care right now with dementia. There's nothing more horrifying than leaving your parent alone in a place where there's a bunch of strangers and people have dementia, and it just, it feels, this sounds disrespectful, but in a way it's like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You see a bunch of people in various, stages of sleeping or not comprehending what's going on. And it is a scary place to leave your dad and think, is he going to be okay? And how's the food? And is he scared?
It can be a real jolt when you're new to it. And there are great places, and then there are not so great places.
Yeah.
And you can definitely see the difference. We both have that experience. In this particular segment of our show, we decided to have a personal conversation with you and give sort of our experience to you, because we jump off the news cycle as always. There is a report that has been handed down from the Seniors Care Advocate, the BC Senior Care Advocate, Isabel McKenzie, that shows some pretty startling numbers and how private seniors' homes underspent on patients compared to public facilities. Now, some are public and private, so painting everybody with one brush is one thing that we want to be very cautious of here, but we want to talk about
The difference, though, is that the private for-profit facilities have 500,000 fewer care hours provided to patients than they're funded for, than the money they get from the provincial government. Whereas the non-profit, public long-term care facilities provide 93,000 more hours and spend 25% more per resident on direct care. So the question was, somehow that doesn't necessarily
line up.
From my experience, my dad is currently in a home that is for-profit.
Yeah.
And they do have some public beds. Hi, Dad. There's Dennis Steele. And the staff there is brilliant. They're really good people. But to be honest, I never see anyone else from another family member there.
Really?
It's almost never. Christmas, there's nobody there but me. Me and Dad. That was Dad's birthday last year. And so I think they need more staff. I think the people who work in long-term care deserve to make way more money, because it's a super important job and they don't make enough, and it's a hard job, and you're doing things like changing diapers and dealing with seniors who are really vulnerable, and you need to have the right care and compassion and skill set.
Agreed. And the care aides that are working so hard and tirelessly, I saw a statistic once that when in care, a senior will often only have 3 minutes of human contact, of actual physical touch per day.
Yeah.
3 minutes. And that's when I would hear some pictures of my dad. My dad ended up being in Delta View, which was an amazing space. This was actually when he was at Sunrise prior to Delta View. We were in a private care. Just wanted to throw in a picture of him while in care. I took him. This was his birthday. He was dancing with my mom at the Mariloma Club. Having that contact, he remembered how to dance when he could barely remember other things. This was his last birthday before he passed in 2021, mid-pandemic. That's my whole family, outside the window. I, as his essential, was allowed inside. And at Delta View, which had pay and private, I can tell you, those people are angels walking among us through a pandemic, doing all the things. They had Dad just, he loved acts of service. He was a teacher, so they would have him just folding towels, happy as can be, just to contribute and help. But there are some places where people are just left
I
to
brought
sit.
my mom.
Oh, Lynda.
So my mom passed of dementia. She actually had Lewy bodies. And after she passed, I took some of her cremains and I sent them to an artist in Banff, and had one of these little birds made, one for my dad and one for each of my brothers and me, because Mom's interned in Edmonton and none of us are there except for my one brother. So there's Thelma, who was deeply proud of her daughter being on TV, and she would have loved to have watched our show. Oh my gosh, she would have had it tuned in, and she would have been sending me notes.
I love that.
Because she was my biggest fan. But anyway, it's a journey.
It is.
When you're dealing with dementia.
And going back to what you said off the top, is that it's very scary to leave your loved one, and there are a lot of people who are in the situation where they just have to. And it's not I'm putting you in a home, it's I need help. And it's okay to say you need help. Navigating the system can be extraordinarily difficult and emotional, and the guilt is real. I mean, you gave up your career at one point to spend more time with your dad on a regular basis, and then I pulled you back in.
Well, now I have enough time. Lots of time for Dad, a
Yeah.
little bit of time for keeping the brain going and all the rest of it. But I want to connect to our next guest.
Yes.
Because this is important. And you think, hey, there's nothing funny about dementia, right?
Right.
You'd be wrong. Because comedian Gavin Crawford pays tribute to his mother in a new podcast that's going to make you cry, but it's going to make you laugh too. Gavin joins us next.
It's such an important piece of the puzzle, and so is this. Our community.
Viewing party photos.
Right.
Nancy, thank you so much. I love seeing people's feet in a nice dark living room where they're chilling out.
Oh, look at this one. Sammy the cat. Matthew, thanks for
Hi.
sending us this.
And we also, Terry and Janice in Thetis Island.
A little bit of a Jets fan there.
Whoa, I say go Oilers, but go Jets too.
Go Canucks, go. We're back in a moment on Steel and Vance.